Hey, it's Gary from Reseller Revenue. We are on Patreon and Facebook and, of course, YouTube. So check us out. We meet in the mornings, Monday through Thursday, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. Every morning during those days, we talk about a different reselling topic. So we are a small group of people that like to look at things from all different angles and help people out and all different topics that are relevant to us every day. So right now I'm going to talk about the what's sold. So let's talk about what sold in my store this last week. I try to be completely transparent and just the good, bad, and ugly. We're all out there on the grind. We're all every day, all day. You're trying to find the best things, trying to price our items, trying to title them correctly. So I don't mind at all just sharing how I get through the week and how our weeks go. So I have noticed that like my background thing keeps catching the gray black background. So it looks like I have this great like gray hair halo, which it is gray, but anyway, so let me share my screen. It was a better week this week. We bounced back um some anyway. And there's the total sales were $5,069 for the week. I go Thursday through Wednesday, and that's because we do our numbers call for the group on Thursday. So I like to have everything tied up. So it's always on a 7-day cycle though. And then here we have our net sales were $2,938.97. So my gross was up 26% last week from the week before, but more importantly, my net was up 32%. And I think that's just because of what sales or coupons were not on last week. So I sold 178 items last week. So my average sale per item was 28.48. Here's numbers I always like to look up. My repeat buyers was only 9 last week. I like that to be higher, but what do we do? Let's see what else we have here. Right here it'll tell us 139 of those items sold promoted listings. 79 sold via them sending me a best offer, and 34 were offers I sent out and they accepted. So my offers I send out don't convert very well, just being honest. Not sure why. I think they're just not aggressive enough. Usually they're 15%. I'm not sure. So I want to show these kind of things. I think a lot of YouTubers or resellers would be embarrassed to show you things like this because obviously I would never, ever recommend selling something for $12.72 on eBay because after fees, you're going to be left with almost nothing. However, when I list something I shouldn't have been listing to begin with because it was too low of a price, then this is what we get, right? And sometimes I've made a bad choice, I made a bad buy, and I'm just going to get my money back out and know better for next time. So I will not be listing that again. This one sold for $13.60. It was an Avon charm bracelet. You can see it's got a lot of wear on it, but I did disclose that wear. Again, I would not buy this and list this again, at least not at this price. The start time on that or when it was listed was clear back in September. So it also took a long time to sell. None of those things are what we're looking for. Right here is a carved lucite flower brooch. I actually thought this was a very cool brooch, but it sat there since September also. So then it was on deep discounted sale. You can see there, I thought it was neat, but apparently I was the only one. And so it sold for $12.40. Again, not what we're going for. Here is a blue beaded necklace. These things would go round and round about. Do we list things like this? Do we list beaded necklaces or do we not? So I think they have to have a wow factor to them. This one's multi-strand. It's bright blue. Had a lot going for it, but I listed it in November. So it took a while for being in my store to sell. It did sell at 21.42. I would probably still list this again and hope I sold it faster next time. Maybe I could use better keywords in my title to get it gone faster, but admittedly, I'd probably list this again even if I shouldn't. Here's a little Mac Dog Bulldog stick pin, and yes, it probably was underneath my threshold of what I should have been listing. However, it was just cute. It was neat. I knew somebody'd buy it. I listed this December 18th. So it did take a couple months to sell for the $15. You know that I'll probably just get my buy cost back, actually. Here's a vintage harp brooch. This sold within a couple days, actually maybe 1 day. So it was, I think I took a $20 offer. It was probably worth it for how fast it sold, but to be honest, if it would not have sold quickly, it probably wouldn't have been worth listing. So that probably was not a great choice either. Let's hope we run across some choices I made that were good. However, some of these bread and butter items are also what pays the bills when they add up. So it's kind of a push and pull effect. I'm trying to list things that are at least $27, $28 and more. I really want to get to the $35 and $40 range, but it's hard, guys. It is hard. So this is just an old rhinestone bow brooch. It was listed December 6th. It sold when it was 25% off at $20.24. So this was probably all right. It had the discoloration, but it was really cool. And the great thing about these type of brooches are when people get them, they always say the same thing. Wow, it was so much nicer than what I thought it was going to be. Because you just can't capture how sparkly it is and how pretty it is um, until you have it in person. So this one here is a like laurel wreath set. And it sold for $24.13. It really wasn't anything special, but it was a set and it was nice. I listed it the day after Christmas and it sold last week, so it didn't take too long. Here's another lot. I'm trying really hard to lot things up that maybe aren't desirable on their own. And this one I did clear back in November. I feel like my lots are getting better. I feel like I'm doing better with them. This one sold for $19.12 for 3 items, and I listed that in November. So I mean, it did take a little while to sell, and it didn't sell till it hit 30% off. So probably not a great choice. I'm trying to add maybe 4 or 5 things to my lots now, and I'm also listing better items in the lot. Especially back then, I was getting things for literally like a quarters. They weren't very expensive, so I was able to lot things up and still keep my buy cost reasonable. This was a Karis ring, size 6. Nothing super fancy, but it did sell for right around the $20 mark. I've always been hesitant selling rings, but I feel like I'm getting better at it and more comfortable with it. And I found some really good ones lately, so I am learning. This was a beautiful blue beaded um, necklace. You can tell that, the rhinestones are a little greeny looking. It was super old. It was hand strung on string. You can see the hand tied knots, but it was super neat. And I was kind of afraid to even list it because I was afraid somebody would complain about it. So I really tried to show how, it was a little crusty, but those beads were just something. They were like a milky wave. I mean, they were just really, really good, but it was pretty delicate, but it sold for $20. If anything, it was a good piece of history. This one I sold this or listed December 27th. And this one too was just a really old, unique uh, glass beaded necklace. It just had a lot of great characteristics and it sold for $19.30 in a couple months. This was just a stunning, it was like porcelain, I think it was. And it was kind of hard to ship actually, but it was unique. It's just different. It was like the drama mass scene. I think I took an offer for 22 on this one, but it was definitely a statement piece. And it took a couple months too to sell. So here's another one that we think, do we list things like this? It's not branded, it's just a beaded necklace. But again, those multi-strand necklaces that have the unique colors, I don't really mind listing these. And this one sold in 2 weeks. So it had some really unique marbling and it almost looked like, rocks, but they weren't. So they were hand strung. I promise we're gonna get into stuff that makes more sense for me to sell here. This was just a regular, it wasn't signed, wasn't special, but people like birds. And they like certain color birds and they like certain, this was like, had a different colorway. It was red. It was just different. It sold for 20 bucks. All these items, unless I say so, I have the $3.75 buy cost in, is what my average was this last week. So here is another multi-stranded beaded necklace. And this one is pink. I use the word bubblegum for my pink necklaces like this. It seems to work. I listed this on the 17th, so it sold within a handful of days, not even a week. And I think I took a $24 offer on this. I am partial to these little vintage bar brooches. I just like them. I think they're neat. This one sold for 25 bucks. You know, I got it in a big lot. I think somebody was getting ready to throw it away, but I like these. I think they're, kind of historical. Here is a light blue vintage cafe brooch, and this one was really cool. I really like it. It had lots of nice color to it. It sold for $29.99. It also was listed February 17th, so it sold right away. Let me show you the back here. There's the signature. This was a very cool old stick pin. I think I took a $49 offer on this. I think it was probably sterling. I don't think it was gold. I believe I remember, and it probably was moonstone, but I wasn't sure. I don't like calling something something it isn't, so I just priced it up a little bit and thought the right collector will see it. So for being a little old stick pin, it sold pretty fast and it sold good. So it sold in less than a month. These are Castle Cliff Medusa earrings, and that's just like the pattern is what I was kind of going after, the Medusa snake look. They're signed on the back, and there's the measurements of them. I think I took a $25 offer. I don't really mind listing clip-ons so much in the $25 range. They're easy to list, they're easy to clean. This one here was just blue stone. So I don't know what kind of stone this is. I'm not positive. I didn't test it. I don't know my stones that well. I hope somebody got lucky and they were worth a bunch of money and they're super happy with me. Really, really long strand of necklaces. You can see exactly how amazing I am at, staging my necklaces. And this sold almost immediately. I listed it on February 13th. Here's a crazy cat lady brooch lot and some earrings. Sold for $29.99. I'm happy with that. Listed it in November, so it was time for it to go. It's missing some stones. You can see that clearly. It's got some wear, but it was a neat lot. Somebody that enjoys cats will enjoy that. Here's a big lariat necklace. Every time I run across these, I think, should I list this? Is this worth listing? Is anybody going to buy it? I don't know why I do that because they sell every time. This one sold for $33.99. You can tell there's some gold tone wear. I did show that in the pictures. I believe I probably put that in the description too. We can look. No, but you can obviously see the tone wear, and I already talked to the person that got this, and they really liked it. So here's another one of those darn bar brooches. And yes, this one was untested also. Beautiful blue stone. I just priced it up because I thought that stone looked pretty nice in there. I think I took a $69 offer on that. I listed it January 8th, so it took a little over a month to sell. Here's some enamel flowers. None of these really screamed that they needed to be listed on their own. They were nice and they were dirty though. That's what I put reed in there for because they were kind of dirty. There was some light chipping, but they were still, I think worthy of selling. I just didn't want to list them on their own. They sold full price at $39.99, literally within a couple days, maybe same day. I listed it February 23rd. Yeah, I put down here, needs deep clean and some chipped with light wear. So I do try to always make sure I point out any condition issues. Here's a rhinestone brooch lot. Not junk. They were good brooches. They just were not quite good enough to list on their own, and I'm trying to do better with that. So I'm trying not to pick up items that now would have to be a part of these lots. But if I do, or they happen to be in a big lot that I want, I'm trying to make them better. So here's $39.99. They sold for a lot of 4. Here's another rhinestone brooch lot of 6. These all were a little dull. They had some, yellowing a little bit, but they were still good. They just weren't good enough quality to be listed on their own. I think I took a $40 offer on this. But again, it was listed February 17th, so sold less than 2 weeks. This is a Napier brooch sterling flower. I had never seen one quite like this. So I listed it clear back in, let's see, in December. So it's been up for over about couple months here. Been up a couple months. So here's the signature of the Napier Sterling line. I think I took a $55 offer on that, and it was fine. Lots of profit margin in there. Here's a Camrose Cross watch. It's never been used. I listed it the 24th. It sold almost immediately for $60. You see it's still got the plastic on it. I've been selling these like crazy, and that from that big lot buy I had. Here's an Eisenberg original, or no, it's not. Excuse me, it's not an Eisenberg original. It's just an Eisenberg. Here you can see the signature. There is a difference in age of when it was made. So, not Eisenberg Ice. It's just Eisenberg. Sorry if you can hear Molly going off out here. She's barking. $119.99 is what that sold for. It was listed February 1st, so it sold within 2 or 3 weeks. I'm really shooting to have a 90-day sell through the whole entire store. And I think it's very doable. So we're all going to have some stuff left over, but it's just part of the deal. This was a magnificent brooch. It was probably one of the nicer quality constructed brooches I've ever held. And that includes the Shriners I've had. I mean, this is something else. There's no way that when this person didn't get it, they weren't super happy about it. I think it was probably made by Renaud. I'm almost positive, but I don't like attributing things if I'm not positive, and I'm not 100% positive. But the construction was magnificent. So it sold for $193.19. I did list that clear back in October because I was trying to get more money for it because it was such a nice piece and I just couldn't get it. So this one, you guys will probably all have a fit. This was listed at $449.99 with a size 5, so it's small. There's only so many people who wear a size 5 ring. And it was new in the box. See how dainty that looks? They're so easy to overlook. I took an offer for $250 on this and didn't bother me even in the slightest because I paid $10 for it. So let's keep it rolling. It was listed February 14th. And that's it for this week. So I'm working on a couple big sourcing opportunities. I went to the flea market this weekend, didn't find anything amazing, but it was still worth going, just, touching, feeling, seeing, trying to make connections. I'm working on a couple private collection buys, and we'll see how that brings it. So this week on the Resale Revenue Jewelry Call, which is Costume Jewelry Chronicles with Finds of Yesterday Lynn, we're going to talk about Trifari, which is one of my favorite designers. So hopefully you can check that out when it comes out. Thank you very much.